Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, Lisa Kneller. I really want to thank you so much for being on Her-Tastic journey this morning. Lisa and I met briefly at an event last fall in November, and I said, hey, I'm going to try this Her-Tastic journey. I didn't even have a name, I don't think, at that time. Would you be willing to come on my podcast? And she was like, yep, I certainly will. I think I knew you like a minute or 2 minutes. So
Well,
thank
thanks
you.
for having me on, Charlotte.
Absolutely. As we were getting ready to put this together this week, we were chit-chatting a little bit via email, and you said that you're actually pivoting from being a life purpose coach to being a marriage and relationship coach. And so you are a certified insight coach, public speaker, blogger, podcaster, and you're helping women revive their marriage as a marriage and relationship coach, believing in the power of love, which I love that. Reconciliation and commitment. You also are a certified yoga teacher, and you've been teaching yoga since 2003. You have a certificate in applied neuroscience, and you have coached worldwide, and you're really committed to learning and evolving within your own life and helping other women as myself. So thank you, Lisa, for being on.
Yeah, thank you for that introduction. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have a few things that we want to start with, and really is what inspired you to start your business journey?
Well, I was a stay-at-home mom for 28 years, and that's longer than most women stay home. At the age of 59, I decided to get a job and help my husband out. And I went to Grand Canyon University, hired me as an enrollment counselor, which was perfect for me because I really value higher education and I loved the environment of higher education. And I learned a lot as an enrollment counselor. And one of the benefits of being an employee there was that you could go to school and they virtually pay for it. Like all you pay for is your books. So I was looking through all the programs, trying to decide what do I want to do. I already had a bachelor's degree. I didn't want an MBA. At my age, I'm like, what would I do with that? And so I found this graduate certificate of completion in life coaching, and I thought, oh, that seems like up my alley, right? Like that with all my yoga background and everything. So I took that program and it was about 10 months. It was very academic, which I loved because it showed through research how coaching works on an individual and corporate level. And so I fell in love with the practice of coaching. And then I decided that's really what I want to do. I felt called to do that. And so I kept working full time for a few years as I gathered my knowledge and skill in coaching and started very slowly to get clients.
So I do want to ask myself, I'm a career coach,
Mhm.
and you're yourself are a life coach. And I've had this conversation with other coaches. And when I think life coach, to me, the reason I went the career route, not the life route, I felt like I would get too attached. And so I kind of had if we're talking about your career, I have some space between us. And I'm not sure. So what do you think? What are your thoughts of that on the life coach? Do you feel like that there is not a space, or are you able to have some space?
I'm not sure what you mean by that because what I'm hearing is that you're protecting yourself in some way, I guess, right?
Yes.
And I don't particularly feel like I need that protection.
Okay.
Yeah. And also it's a thought, so um I like to work on thought management or mind management or understanding thought. And
Okay.
but I love that you're doing career coaching because there are a lot of people who are very confused about what they want to do. And as an enrollment counselor, I talk to a lot of people about their careers and whether or not they needed to go back to school or whether or not they should go back to school and all the consequences of that decision, right? So I actually love that you're doing that, and that may be just where you feel called to be.
All right. So thank you for. like while you were telling me that, I thought to myself, well, she was already doing career coaching, so this life coaching maybe was just a stream of that in your position. Like you were already helping people, and this was kind of just another way of helping them in a different realm, at a deeper
Well,
level, possibly.
so it's for me, sometimes it's a process of elimination, right? Like I didn't see myself as a corporate coach because I had not spent years in corporate America. I was never in management. I was never all stressed out in the corporate
You're
world.
like,
So I didn't have that experience and didn't feel I was qualified to do that. However, I do feel like I could coach an individual who is in a corporate setting, who is in a leadership role or a high level person, because they have personal issues too. And I feel like as a life coach, I can really help address some personal issues like relationship issues, and for me, everything's almost about relationships. So I think that's where I ended up pivoting. And as a life coach, if you go too general, people don't know what you do.
that's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
And I think also it's like, help me figure my life out, Lisa. Here's all my stuff. Can you help me figure it out? Have you
Yeah.
come across that at all?
Some people just want direction. Like I'm working with a gal right now who is working on her confidence. She didn't have confidence in social settings, and now she does. She's gaining more, and we're still working on that. I'm actually working with a high-level executive at a healthcare company, and he's struggling with, how do I kind of leave my work life at work and come home and be a nice guy and things like that, and I think for the most part, it almost always comes down to relationship, even if it's about money. Like you have a relationship with money, right? Or a relationship with your work and people at work and things like that. So, because we're just with people all the time. So,
We are. That is true.
yeah,
We are with people all the time. Yes. Well, if we choose to be with people,
yeah,
right? I have found some people are absolutely happy just being with themselves. And and they're fine. They'll just sit there, they'll stay on their laptops or their computers or scroll on their phone, and they're fine being with themselves. And that's where I think that people perhaps in your position as a life coach could actually help them, because they're not building relationships. There's something else that could be going on with them that they're holding back.
well, I'll just speak from my own situation. My husband's very introverted. He likes a lot of alone time. We spend a lot of time apart because we have a home in another area of the state, and he likes to go there a lot. And I like to go with him, but like not every weekend. And so he has his alone time. I have my alone time. And I've realized that, he does have some very important relationships. Most of them are friendships that he's created through work, colleagues and such. But he's not Mr. Social. So, unless he was like struggling with that, I wouldn't seek to help him. Like he's okay the way he is. And he's accepted the fact that I'm very social and I need my social time. So
So that's a great segue then about sharing your journey and how you're pivoting. Maybe this is some of the insight of where you were doing your career coaching and relationship, and now you've really gone more to the marriage side of relationships.
yeah.
Being with your husband for how long have you been married?
So we've been married 38 years.
Okay, that's a whole lifetime.
Yeah. And then we dated 8 years.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, we were one of those. My mother was like, I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm like, good, because we're not ready. But then when we were ready, we were ready. And we were just talking about this last night. So yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a lifetime. I've actually met him in junior high school. So like we know each other since we were kids. So
That's, can you expand on that a little bit? So, some people have that, and this, I really want to dive into how you pivoted and how you're doing this. And I think because you're living it, you've lived it. You are living it
Yes.
now. And so a lot of people, not a lot, but people say that when you're married for a while and then you get, I believe that every 7 years we change. I just believe that. And when you get into that next stage, like when the kids are gone, or if you had kids or not, or your careers are sunsetting, and then the sun is rising on a different part of your life, how you continue to maintain that relationship in a marriage.
So for me, it was quite intentional. So when we got married, we had both, well, I had experienced quite a bit of divorce in my family. My parents had been divorced, my siblings had been divorced. Um, there was my grandparents. So I wasn't new to me. And I saw the pain of it, right? So my husband and I both were like, we didn't want to experience that pain. So like we didn't think anything was wrong with getting divorced if in fact that's what you need to do, but also we didn't want to experience that pain. So we kind of both went into it saying to ourselves, divorce isn't an option, even though it technically is. We went into it intentionally. And not a lot of people do that. They're all in love and they're just, they want to live together and all that. And so they get married and they don't really make the commitment. They make the commitment to like, I heard this recently, and I think it was through a podcast, but it was like couples make the commitment to endure marriage, but they don't make the commitment to grow together. And I think a lot of people don't keep a finger on the pulse of their relationship.
Oh, I love
Which,
that. Mhm.
yeah, it's one of my favorite sayings. I wrote it down last night because I thought I need to do a blog post on this. I need to do something on this. It's so important, people just get in their busyness and they take things for granted and they don't stay in tune with the connection of their partner. And consequently, we've got a high divorce rate. And, that affects community. It affects the kids. It affects family. It affects, it ripples out, and then it's
Really
just,
it affects the individual because you
yeah.
can carry that with you. You mean I've met a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm divorced." I'm like, "Well, how long have you been divorced?" "Oh, 15 years." Like, "Well, you're not divorced. You're single." It's been 15 years.
You can call yourself single now. Yeah.
Give
Yeah.
yourself permission.
Yeah. But I mean, so you were wanting to know why I pivoted, right? I mean, I
Yes.
think that's kind of where we were going with that. And as a general life coach, what I discovered was and I've done a lot of networking and I've met a lot of people and I've got a lot of stuff out on the internet, but it's so general that I felt like, well, am I really solving a problem here? Like, what am I doing? And I see the need for marriage counseling. I've seen it in many different ways. My daughter is a trauma therapist, and she also does marriage intensives with a coworker at work. And people really need help in this area. And there's wait lists to get into therapy offices. And so I got to thinking, I'm very passionate about my relationships, with not just my husband, but with my children and my friends and everyone. And I think we could all use a little bit of help there, you know? And so I felt like, okay, I think I could have an impact in this area. And specifically, as you said, like with couples or women in midlife who are going through their own transitions and maybe realizing, gosh, things are stale. I feel like I'm a roommate, not a lover. We've lost connection. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna go this direction. And I at this point I wouldn't say, oh, I'm the expert. There's a lot of people who are more expert at it than I am. But as you said, I've lived it.
You're living
I've
it.
gotten through it. Yoga was probably one of the things that saved my marriage. So even just practicing yoga was such a benefit to our relationship because it taught me so many things about regulating my emotions and things.
That's true. I also think every relationship, every relationship needs, now I don't want to say work, but you need to put effort into relationships, whether it's with a colleague or a spouse or a child or anyone in your world that you're having. You need to put, how well that relationship is how well you tend to it. If you keep, the communication with, or, oh, I haven't talked to that person in 3 years. I have a lot of people that say that. Oh, I've got friends, but I haven't talked to them in, 5 years. But when I talk to them, it's like we just pick up where we were. And then I'm thinking to myself, and I can say that about myself. I've got friends, since junior high, but we're really not friends. We've known each other a long time and we catch up, but I'm not having an ongoing relationship with them that's intentional. It just kind of pops in every now and again. So it's easy to maintain.
Yeah.
When someone's in your life every single day, that's a whole different way to think about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of your journey. And then how are you balancing your work life? Going back to the person we were talking about earlier, how are you balancing your work life integration? Now that you have this more of you're really taking on your professional business and your personal life. And what advice would you give other women trying to achieve this balance? Or individuals?
The biggest thing for me is energy management. I am a low energy person. Like my constitution does not run on high octane. I need sleep. I need a little bit of coffee. And I just think that the main thing, Charlotte, is self-care. So we have to weave that in no matter what we're doing. When you're an entrepreneur or whether you're a busy employee, you need to fit that in to your schedule. And maybe you're not a runner, but maybe you need to, when you come home at the end of the day, you need to put your feet up on the couch and have your back on the floor so that you can lower your blood pressure a little bit and calm yourself down. Maybe you need to go to a yoga class or take a nap. Um, so I just think that really getting in tune with your energy and figuring out when is the best time for me to work. One of my best friends, she's an early bird. Like I'm talking 4:35 in the morning. To me, that's not doable.
Yeah, to me, that's the middle of the night still. Like it's still dark. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and I have gotten up that early on occasion, and I have done my meditation, and I love that when I can, when I've had enough rest. And also I get really frustrated, like last night in the middle of the night, got up to go to the restroom and then could not go back to sleep. And then my husband's snoring, right? So,
Yes.
and then I know I have this interview at 9:30. So it's like, okay, how am I going to fix this? So I just got up, I went into the family room, I got super cozy, and I started listening to some personal development stuff, some coaching stuff that I'm learning. And I just did that until I got sleepy enough to go back to sleep. Then I kept hitting the snooze alarm.
Oh, okay.
Yep, because I was like, nope, not ready. Nope, not ready. And just really staying in tune with what I need at the moment.
That's really good advice. Thank you. That's pretty good. And so last thing here, mentorship.
Uh-huh.
I just going back to what you said, you were um, you were working at home, taking care of your house, your home, your family, and then later on in life, in your late 50s, you decided, you know what, I'm going to go out into the corporate world, and you went into education at Grand Canyon University and started doing academic counseling there to help people, find where they were going to be. So what kind of mentorship would you say that you want to provide to aspiring women entrepreneurs as women, both of us as women ourselves in our later on in our lives becoming entrepreneurs?
Oh, let me get clear on the question. What do I want to do as to be a mentor, or
what advice would you give in mentorship to women that are deciding to go on this entrepreneur journey?
well, definitely get one. Definitely get a mentor. You cannot do it on your own. There's absolutely, I don't think. I mean, some people, they start a hobby and then it turns into a business, and then, it's almost accidental. And then at some point they've got to like jump off the cliff and learn something new and get mentorship. And for me, I've had it the whole time. Like, and there's different kinds of mentors. There's mentors that don't know you, but you know them, and you follow them and you listen to them and you get advice, maybe through a podcast or a book or something like that. And then there's the ones that just come alongside you and want to be helpful. And then there's the ones that you pay. Excuse me. So you need some coaching, business coaching. So you seek out the ones that resonate with you, and you make that investment in yourself so that you have a chance, because it's hard. I'm not going to lie.
It is hard. It is hard. I've been out now 7 months.
Yeah.
Corporate America is all I've done all of my career. And I will say earlier in my career, in my very early 30s, probably 30, 31, I had 2 different coaches that I had hired because I felt like I really wanted to, I needed a coach. I didn't know how to dress, or I didn't know how to do a resume, all these things I needed coaching on. I didn't know how to present myself in meetings. And so I hired 2 different women here in town. And I've actually looked them up lately, and I have not been able to find them. But again, it's been, 25 years ago. And then I went through all of this corporate world, and I might have a mentor here or there. And up until maybe the last year, I didn't realize that we do need mentors. We need mentors at all different stages of our lives for different things. So
I have to say, that's amazing that you had the foresight to hire a coach way back when.
Way back when, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Diane, and I want to say her name was Margie. Yeah.
Yeah. And those women have made an impact in your life and how you presented yourself, and you learned some things that maybe you didn't know that were helpful to advance in your career.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Because when you're young, you really don't, and you've never been out there, you're like, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't know anything, I still don't know a lot, but I do know a lot. Like, it's still like on this little cuspice of growing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa. Any parting words, anything, not parting words, but anything that you'd like to add?
Well, I will just say this, this has just occurred to me, like, no matter where you are in life, even if you have a good marriage, or you have a great job or whatever, there's always more. There's always more to discover. There's always more to expand and to learn. So I just want to encourage people to find those mentors, find those coaches that can help them expand their mind, and also get encouragement when they want to do something like what you're doing right now and what I'm doing. So yeah, know that there's more.
Great. That is exactly right. There is more. Thank you so much. I really want to thank Lisa Kneller. Is there anything that you'd do a call to action for? Is there any way we can find you?
Oh, thank you for asking. Yeah. So lisanellercoaching.com. So LISAKNELLER coaching.com. And you'll find all my stuff there.
Great.
And thank you so much, Dr. Charlotte, for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you too. Thank you. Take care.
Mm-hmm.
Mwah.